Guys, it's Lisa back with another video for you for Lisa Wise Designs, and today we are working on part 3 of our holiday blocks and two-sided mini album. So yesterday we finished up both sides of our block, so I finally have 2 sets now so I can show you both sides at a time without having to flip it over and lose them all. So of course you can hot glue these together if you want, but I kind of like them still in the block form. When you turn them over, it looks like this. So you have a mini album that's also two-sided that corresponds or uses the same pattern paper, so it coordinates together. And I'm going to put mine on a little acrylic stand kind of behind it, and this will be standing up in front. And then when I'm finished with Thanksgiving dinner, I'm going to flip it over to Christmas and enjoy this album. I can't wait to put about 20 pictures in this album of my new grandbaby. She was just 2 weeks old or so last year before Christmas, so this will be a fun year to see how she's grown. So we're going to get started on the fall side. If you want to, you can look in your cutting guide and do the fall cuts and the Christmas cuts at the same time and put them together. I think I'm going to be doing some of that, and I may just stick with the fall side and then go to the Christmas. I guess we'll just have to see as we go along. I'm not sure what's easier. But we left off on the cutting guide at the bottom of page 9. We're going to be putting our magnets down. So if you're following along with that, you can start with 9 or page 10. And I'll show you what I've got out right now for supplies. But this is what we're going to be working on. So this is your 2 tags. Here we're going to be doing the front today. And then we'll be working on, or get started here on this. Isn't this so cute? It's hard to show the whole thing at one time on the little envelope flap. And on the other side, we'll do this probably in the next video. And then this comes out. Cute. Okay, let's get started. I'll show you the supplies. Let me put this on this little stand so I can be looking at it as we go along. Maybe. There we go. Okay. So this is kind of where we've got our album put together. If you're joining me midway, there is a playlist for this, or you can go back a couple of videos to see the beginning part of this album. So where we left off yesterday, we were using these papers. I'm going to go ahead and cut these up, so I will make sure that I have these cut aparts and I don't use the back up. We were using these 2 sheets of paper. We're going to continue with these today, and then you're going to get out this 6 by 12 sheet that you should have in your pack, and this is how we're going to be cutting out 2 of these flaps. And then yesterday we also used or cut some strips, so grab those and have those ready. We're going to be using that. Put this off to the side here, and of course feel free to personalize this and do what you would like to do. But there is, even though there's lots of paper in there, I do use the vast majority of it. So I'm just going to be really careful about how I cut it and what I do. So I know I wanted those. I know that I want these 2 here, so I'm just going to go ahead and cut this straight across. Cut these down. We'll cut this one off for sure. This is a maybe because I just kind of stuck it in there because I liked it. But then I know I want to have this tree. This is part of my cover. And so then I know the rest of this is fair game to cut on this side or this side. I really like that turkey. I wish I could figure out how to work him in this time. So I'm going to put this with my scrap pile. I'll recycle those for the next project. And then I'm just going to kind of put these in my little holder here. Put that out of the way for now. Alright, so let's see if I go in order of the cutting guide. Sorry, I'm getting oriented here. So at the bottom of 9, top of 10, what we need to do next is in your kit you have 4 magnets. They're teeny tiny, so grab those. And they are very strong, but they're brittle. So if they clang into each other, they might break. I've had a couple break in half when I had long strips of them. So I just kind of keep them apart from each other as best I can. Let's work with 2 at a time here. So this on the fall side, I'm going to open it up, and then the F flaps here. This is where we're going to put our magnets. So still don't have it far enough away. Okay, I'm going to open one of my F flaps, and on the inside of this flap, I'm going to come down and over about 1 inch. So about right here from the top is where my magnet is going to go, and then the other side will be about right here. What I like to do to put my magnets on is I like to use tape. This is a double-sided tape, and this one I'm using now is 1/4 inch, but of course anything would do. You just want to give you enough room where when you're matting that it's not going to show. So that's why I kind of do this little inch part here. Then I'm going to put down a piece of tape on top of that to hold it. Then on the second magnet, I'm going to put it straight down. Now they do have a side, like if you put one side down, it snaps onto it. If you put the other side down, like it kind of comes off. It's going to kind of find the way it wants to magnetize together there. All right, so I like to kind of stamp mine to know exactly where to put it on this side. So I just do that since I'm using black cardstock. I do that with glue. So I put art glitter glue all the way around the outside of the magnet, and then very carefully I touch it down to where I want the other side to be. Kind of give that a good rub there. So now you kind of got a stamped image of where this is going to go. It's not going to hold it. It's not strong enough. So then you're going to get messy fingers, but then you can take this, flip it over where the glue side is on glue side, and now it's exactly where you need it to be. And then I'll put another piece of tape on this to hold it. And when we start matting, I'll take this tape liner off. There we go. So now that's how I like to put mine on there to make sure it's in the exact right spot. So I'm going to flip over now to the Christmas side and do the same thing. I'm going to start on this left side. But this time, instead of at the top, I'm going to come to the bottom so that I don't have all the bulk in one spot. So if that makes sense. I'm going to come up 1 inch and over 1 inch. That's right there. And it may not even work out that way, but the top half of the book and the bottom half of the book now will not have the same amount of thickness, if that makes sense. That's why I try to just kind of think a little bit about that. Even though they're not going to overlap each other, you still have to think when you start putting all these layers together about that, about making sure you kind of stay even if possible. Rub that here. There we go. This is the only part I don't like, is then getting my fingers all messy. Oh, I didn't even put my magnet on there, but that's okay. I know which side goes down. Here, just gonna make sure. Yeah, so that's correct. See, when I get to talking, I don't craft very well. The good thing about that is, I guess most things are easily fixed. Here we go. And like I was saying in one of my past videos, undo when you're using tape, boy, it really comes in handy. All right, so we did good there. We got our magnets in place. So now we are in the bottom, or the middle, I'm sorry, of page 10 about matting the album. So we're working on the fall side. I'm going to take my clip off, and these cut parts that we did, just go ahead and pick one. I'm going to do this blessed, and I'm also going to need this tree. Yeah, put the rest away for now. I'm using Distress ink in Black Soot. That's what I'm going to be using on this album, along with the ink blending tool. So I'm just going to hit that with some black ink, and that's simply going to go here. Put this to the side for now, so I can go ahead and put this on. And there's lots of cut aparts to choose from. And so in this instance, when I was, I'm gonna flip this over just to make it a little easier on me. When I was designing this album, I knew that I had these cut aparts and I wanted to work them in. So I sized this fall flap to fit a 3x4. So on the Christmas one, I didn't have 3x4 cut aparts. I had a big sticker and I designed that one to make that one fit. So, okay. Now we are going to be on the top of page 11. I'm going to put this to the side for a minute. I'm going to grab that 6x12 sheet of paper that you had in your kit. And then I'm also going to grab the mat that you had. And I'll remind you of that. On this template that you've got an envelope flap and then a mat for your envelope flap. So we did this on Monday, and so now we're going to use the smaller one, the envelope flap mat. So I've got mine cut out, and I went ahead and drew one on this side. Get a couple of paper clips out, and I'm going to draw one on this side. And I like to get as close to the bottom as I can, right next to that branding strip. And then I put my flat edge flush with the side of the paper so I don't have to worry about cutting that. And then I'm just going to have a little bit in the center. And all I'm going to do is simply, move that paper clip a little bit. I say take my time, but then I don't. Take my time and draw around it. Okay, so then you have one on each side there, so that's what you're going to need. Put that away until we get to Christmas. So the way I like to cut is get the biggest piece I can off, and then I'm going to cut down the center and then start cutting away here. So I hope you've been enjoying these videos. I have loved making these kits. I've already been doing a lot of Thanksgiving and Christmas, and you know, with being at home so much this summer, I would actually like to go ahead and get my Christmas stuff up early. And I might do that. We're talking about doing a few things for the next Made It Con with May, but it's going to be called, what, Mary Made It, I believe, for Merry Christmas. And I'm going to be inviting you into my home during that time. And I think we might be doing some Christmas decorating of the tree, so that means I need to get it up super early. But my mother has one of the most beautiful decorated trees that I've ever seen. When she has visitors, her house, they always comment at Christmas about her tree, and they can't quite put their finger on why it's so beautiful. So I'm hoping that she will share some of her secrets with us. And I know a few of them, of course, because she taught me how to decorate. But I think that might be fun to do. Okay, so I just am getting rid of my pencil marks here. I really should get a cloth or use my vacuum, but that would be too easy. All right, I'm going to go ahead and use Distress ink. And I'm interested, too, to see if you like distressing all of your edges. And the way I pick my color usually is depending on my base color. Like this album is black base of, let's say chipboard, that's not correct, of cardstock. And so that's kind of why I'm doing this in black, but I don't always do it that way. So there's that. All right, so we're in the second set here on page 11. Now we're gonna cut the cover mat and the envelope bottom mat, since we have the envelope tops, and then we're going to cut some of these strips. So I'm going to go ahead, since I have these strips out here. You know, this was from yesterday when we did the block. So if you look on the back of this one, you'll see these green dots. So I think I might could get what I need out of this. I need a 1.5 inch strip. So I'm going to go over here to my half. I'm going to cut that. And I'm going to go to my 1/4 and trying very carefully to try to get something. It doesn't have to be exact on this. I just want some different size strips for my cover right here. This is where these are going to go. So they don't have to be exact, but I wanted one to be thicker than the other. And I may do a little bit of fussy trimming here to kind of get some more dots in there. I kind of like that. Yeah, where half dots are. Let's see. And then I have this one. No, I don't like that one. I'm gonna cut this one down just a smidge. And if you have trouble cutting because it's so small, if you have any type of, not permanent adhesive, but the temporary or any type of tape runner, always keep one or something like this to kind of help me on my just kind of line this up when I have small pieces here. Here we go. I like this, even though it might be thinner than 1/4 of an inch. I like that. Okay, so I have those 2 strips done. I'll put this other away for now, but we are going to be using this one on the cover. So I'm going to hang on to that little strip, put these other 2 away. So now let's cut what we need for the front of the album. So this is going to be 6 3/4 by 6 3/4. Here. So as I'm using the same paper as I did on the blocks, kind of my thinking is I like to pair papers together that go well together and then kind of use them up as much as I can before I move on to the next. I know a lot of people don't think of it that way, but that's kind of what I do here. So this one that has the leaves, it's 6 1/2 by 6 1/2. You can see we're using some big chunks of paper here. So just kind of measure twice so that you can cut once, because you definitely don't have enough left over to make those same cuts. Alright. Well, I didn't trim up these, but I can do that with scissors. Alright, take my Distress ink. And I hope that we finish this series in Monday through Friday, but we may not. So I know there's a lot of detail to this. It's not difficult, but there's lots of detail. And I know most people don't want to sit through a 2-hour video. That about an hour is about as maximum as you can go. I'd rather have 30 minutes to 45, but I may not be able to get that all the way. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and do this one. And of course, there's pictures of the cover in your cutting guide that you can look at as we're going along, so you can kind of see where I'm going with this. And this might be cute to have this much smaller strip on this one. I guess we'll see. We'll compare them. All right, here we go. Okay. Now I'm going to grab my book on the fall side here. Open up that flap. And we're going to dry fit this plaid paper right in there. Kind of see how that's going to work. Okay, everything looks good. I'm going to move this out of my way for now. Now I'm going to kind of build on this before I put it in there. I'm going to take the bigger piece of the dot paper. I'm going to put that along the bottom. And of course you could trim this off first, but I didn't. It's okay. It's just a small strip, so I'm going to trim that off. Turn it over, just match it up. And this is going to be hidden under the pocket anyway. Then I'm going to go to my stickers, and this acorns. Let's see, how big was this? I need 6 3/4. I'm going to go to 7, just kind of make a mark. Pull this out. And then trim that off. Now, I'm a little crazy about some things about lining up, some things I'm not. So I'll show you on this. Sometimes I don't like for it to be perfect on the end and then not perfect on the other end. So you see how I trimmed it half on this sample? Sometimes people are like, yeah, that's a little much for me. So this one I'm just gonna put down the way it is. And then we'll trim it off the side. Like I said, the right side is gonna be under that angled pocket. All right. Get my bone folder here. I love this ergonomic bone folder. Trim this off. Okay, good. Now, finally, we use this smaller stripe, strippity stripe paper here. That looks pretty cool. Let's do that. Make sure I get good glue coverage on the very ends. That's why I wanted that smaller glue bottle so bad to work. I keep dropping this bigger one, and it's hard to flip it in my hand over. But I think I made my opening a little too big. The glue's coming out way too fast. So I'll need to work on that. Okay. Here we go. I'm gonna line this up. Isn't that cute? And a cute way to use that little border sticker. So there's that. So now, let's see where we are in our sample here. Go ahead. Put this down, take a look at it. I'm going to flip it open just to make it easier when it's flat here, and just kind of see exactly where you want to glue it. All right. Sometimes, to me, it is better to have it lined up exactly than to have glue in every space. You could take it out, put glue all over, and then try to get it back exactly before it dries. Or you could do what I'm doing. I like to get mine exactly lined up how I want it, because this is my cover. It's not going to matter if there's no glue underneath this piece. And so what I like to do is either paper clip it or hold it down. See, there we go. Uh-oh. See my big scalp in there? And glue a piece of it at a time. Give that a little bit of time to dry. It's my after church hair after I come home and put it up in a ponytail. And then glue on this side, and that way it's exactly where I want it, and it doesn't matter that there's no glue here. It's not going to come up. Okay, if you see some of your edges flipping open, then I would put a little bit more glue there. So that looks great to me. So now I'm going to put this here. I'm going to put this back here for now, so it's not flipping and flopping, and I'm going to turn it over. So here we're back on the fall, and this is the envelope flap. So we have those ready to go. So same thing here. I like to line mine up. So I'm going to kind of open this just to make life a little easier so I can kind of see what I'm doing. This one is not so bad trying to line up. It's actually pretty good. It's about, it's a little more than 1/8 of an inch all the way around. So I'm just kind of holding it in place with my hand. Like I say, you can use paper clips. And usually, well, I say usually I can get pretty good about putting it back on there, and then I flicked it. That's okay. I wish Art Glitter Glue gave me just a teensy bit more time sometimes. And other times I'm waiting on it to dry. I'm interested to see, I know there's some different adhesives out on the market. I'm interested to see if anybody comes out with something that's that is not water-based, so that it can be shipped in the winter and that's comparable to Art Glitter Glue. I'm on the lookout for that. All right, so there's my flap. And if I liked it once, I'm gonna like it twice. So I went ahead and did the this plaid on this back flap. On these, you just have to be careful if you pick something different, that you pick a smaller pattern, and that you pick something that doesn't have a direction, right? It doesn't have like a vertical direction, people or sayings or anything on there. Other than that, you know, you got pretty much free reign. If you want to do those leaves that are on the back of it, you can. I just Yellow is not my favorite color, but this shade of yellow and how it goes with the rest of it, I think turns out really well. All right, so my pen back in here. So now we have this paper that's going to be on the front. So when I open the flap, it's going to be on the front here. I know it's hard to see black on black. So I'm just dry fitting this. It looks good, so I need to make sure that I corner round it. So I'm getting my corner rounder, opening that up, and I'm going to do the 1/2 inch just on the top two. Okay. Then kind of open this up where I've got a flatter surface to glue down. And once again, I'm going to pull this up where I can see the difference. You may not can see because it's black on black. There we go. Where I can kind of see that I've got about 1/8 of an inch all the way around. And I think I said a couple days ago, these large clips are very helpful. And the ones I have they're made by American Crafts, I think, but I know Michaels is carrying their own name brand now of those. I'll try to get some out and show them to you because they really do come in handy crafting. So once I get kind of the bottom done and in place and it won't move, then I can just kind of use that as a hinge and put my glue here. And I know that this technique doesn't work for everyone, but like I say, sometimes it's more important for me to get my matting as perfect as I can than to get my glue as perfectly on there as I can. All right, pull this back under. Okay, so now we've got enough pieces done on this side because we have this matted on the inside and we have this matted here on the outside that we can put our Velcro dot on, and we won't have to worry about that flipping and flopping anymore. Take my scissors, cut this down the center. So now I've got 2 sets. So on my sample, one is clearer than the other. See, this one's a little more white where this one's more clear. I don't even know if you can see it right here. So I did that on purpose. I think you're going to be looking at this more than that, but it doesn't matter. So you can put the one that's more white on the top if you would like to do that. So this one that is the loop side and that's whiter, I'm going to put on the inside of my envelope as close and as centered as I can to this middle piece. That's, you know, the little flap that's kind of coming to a point. And I'm going to burnish that on there well. Then I'm going to take the other side and center it as best I can onto it. And then pull the backing off. And then press it down, taking my time. I'm going to burnish it a little bit, and then I'm going to be really easy this first go around to make sure it sticks and doesn't move, and then I'll get a chance to burnish it. And then I noticed I needed to add a little more glue at the top because my paper was wanting to come away. So I'm just going to take a little time and let that dry. Okay, so now we have this done. Yay! All right, so we are finished with page 11. I'm going to move on to 12. So now we're going to go back to that green dot. So I think I'm good here now. Yeah, we're good. Let's close this up. So I'm going to go back to my green dot paper. This is what I had left. And I'm going to need a 3 5/8 by 3 5/8. So this is less than 4, this is less than 4, but this is a little shorter. I think I'll cut this one down. Okay. So 3 5/8 is a little bigger than 3 1/2 and a little smaller than 3 3/4. So I'm going to go over to 3 1/2 and then go up to 3 5/8. So it's not quite 3 3/4. So 3 5/8. I'll cut that, and this is going to be a square. So I'm going to turn it and do it again, go to 3 5/8. And this is just the right size. Put my scraps up. to mat this front triangle. That's what we're going to do. So now that you have your square, you're going to put it back into your trimmer diagonally, just like that. You're going to put those 2 points diagonal into your trimmer. What is that called? Trough? I don't know, right where it cuts it. Like that. And then we'll try to hold it still. And the best way to do that is have your blade in the center and sink it down in there and then go up and then go down. So that way it's not pushing on it and moving it out of the way. So you're going to take one of those triangles now. Look. And you're going to put that there. Isn't that cute? And if you love the leaf side, well, it doesn't exactly in the right orientation. You could do that. But I did the green so it kind of is a kind of pulls from the green strips over to the side there. Kind of continues. I think that's the word I'm looking for. Go ahead and glue this down. And then we'll work on the decorative piece that has the little deer on it. It's so cute. I thought this idea was fun, using a cut apart. So I still have a little bit right there of where I wrote onto my my pieces, but I'm just going to make sure my stickers cover that part of it up. All right, so this is the next piece that we're going to work on. We'll take the tags out so you can kind of see. We're going to use the cut apart here, and we're going to do some fussy cutting and put the deer on the front of it and add a couple more stickers and some stripes too, some strips. So you can see kind of where I'm going with this in the middle of 12, and then there may be some other better pictures too. There's another picture at the bottom of 18 right here of what we're going to do. This, see if I can keep him in frame a little bit. Maybe put this piece of white behind him. So you can see, maybe that will be helpful. Put the pin in my glue. This is the other tag that's in there. All right, so here's the cut apart we have, and then here's one of those strips we had left over. I'm going to be using that too. So I'm going to cut, let's see, is that like, it's about 1/8 of an inch there, and then some green dots. Okay, so I really wanted a place for him to sit. So I just took some of my leftovers here, and I might have that leftover. Remember that little skinny piece that we had cut? That might work here. I think I'm going to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and use this leftover piece, and I'll give you a measurement in just a second. See, I can't glue and talk at the same time, obviously. I think this is about 1/8 of an inch. Nope, it's 1/4 of an inch. So I got 1/4 of an inch going all the way across, about 1/4 of an inch up of green. That's going to kind of give him a ground to stand on. And then just to add a little more color, what I did is I just put some more of this plaid on it. So I'm just going to cut another 1/4 of an inch or so of plaid off of one of these strips I had left over. And this might be a little too much for some folks, but I love it. I love doing these types of things and kind of have this coming down off the bottom. But on this one, I want to make sure I put some black ink on it. These little bitty details to me make an album. Put this on the bottom here. Flush to the bottom this time. Trim that off. Okay, I'm going to keep this little piece just in case. Now let's start taking a look at stickers. All right, oh, I pushed him out of the way, sorry. So this little deer down here, I grabbed him, just real easy. And if you want to do a little bit of inking, because I can't help myself, and then I'm also going to spend a little time putting some foam tape on him. Just going to move that, and that, and that. Okay. So if you have some in your stash, you can use it, but you also have some of these little foam strips, and I'm going to cut mine in half. Put this right here on his little legs, and this one I'll probably have to cut it in half again for the back legs. That still may not be thin enough. But anyway, you just kind of want to fill in as best you can the shape of his body with the foam, because we want him to stand out. Okay, I'm going to put this foam tape on there, and then I'll come right back. All right, so this is all I had left over from 2 pieces of the foam tape. So I just kind of covered him basically with foam tape. You can't see this one because it's got the backer. I guess I put it on opposite. So that's all I did there. I'm gonna put this back for later use. And you can see here on this one, I also added a couple of stickers. So let's go through and find those. What I used was a blue leaf, this one right here. And then I also used an orange little bitty mushroom. So I have to find that one. So I'm just going to put this off to the side, kind of like this, almost touching the tree. Just wanted to add a little more something something here. Then I used this one right here, right across from the tree. So there is a tree sticker. You could have used that onto different pattern paper, and I'm sure somebody will probably do that, and that'll be cute. I just kind of wanted to do something different with cut apart sheets that I hadn't done before. So that's all I've done here. Just kind of added a couple of strips at the bottom for a ground, and then added a couple of stickers here. So now I'm going to kind of put my deer on the ground. Kind of got I want to make sure I have enough room on the side to kind of fussy cut around his ear. So I'm going to kind of put him down like this. So now I'm going to take all that, this liner off the back, and I'm probably going to put a little bit of glue on top of it because this is the front of the album. It's going to get a lot of use. A lot of people putting their hands on it and sliding in and out of a bookcase or the desk or wherever you keep it. So I want to make sure. See, that's already come off. No. I have to put another piece there. That was tiny. Come on. Here we go. Come on. Well, how monotonous is this? I could use a snack. It's about 3:30 on Sunday afternoon, and I ate after the first service of church about 11:15, and my stomach is rumbling. That's what gets me. You know, I'm trying to do this low carb diet. Whew, what gets me is sweets. Ugh, love it. All right, so I'm going to add a little bit of wet glue on top of the foam just for some extra stick. And turn it over. And so I'm going to try to put his legs right where the green is, and then just give me enough space to where I can cut around his ear on this side. So I don't want it to go over either side. So I'm just going to put my hand here for a minute, let that glue. So what I'm going to do is, starting at the bottom, I'm going to kind of trace what I want to do, because as you know, I'm not the best fussy cutter. So I kind of like to trace out what I want to cut first, and then I kind of have a little more confidence, I guess you could say, in my cutting skills if I've got a rough path to follow. As you can see, I can't talk and sketch at the same time. So right now this is a little bit bigger than 1/8 of an inch, but then I can cut away this line and then come all the way down here, and then leave the bottom of it to be straight. And you can kind of see, like I said, this one here. I'm going to get my fussy cutting scissors if I can find them. I really wanted to use my cutter bees. I thought they might have gone missing, but there they are. They're a little bit smaller. I think they kind of hide in my case. So feel free to fast forward through this if you don't like watching paint dry, or if you don't like watching somebody fussy cut. Is funny. I was watching a May video this morning as I was getting dressed, and she makes it look so easy and so fun, and she's always telling us not to be scared of your scissors and to use them more, and you know, her technique of cutting. And I don't know if I'll ever get to that point. Here we go, around here. So isn't that kind of fun to use this card as a background? I was so proud of myself when I saw this cut apart and came up with that idea. All right, just going around all the little edges here. So now you can see exactly where it's going to go on our little album. So move this over. So I'm so glad I'm covering up my mistake where I had written on the black. So what I'm going to do is just kind of take a moment. I'm going to put it flush to the bottom of that green pattern paper, but then I want to see exactly where I want it to show. I want to make sure this ear doesn't hang off here. So I kind of know where I want it to be, and I know it's going to hang off the top, and you know, I kind of designed it that way. But before I do that, let me look. So I want to put glue like here to here, so about right here, and then kind of down at an angle. There I go again. So I know I can do it at the bottom, and then from where this ear kind of sticks out, down at an angle, I'm going to put glue. Put that down. Easy at first till I get it lined up, and make sure I kind of get that ear really close to that green paper, and this flush to the bottom. And give that a second to dry. Clean up my space while it's drying a second. I know I'm not the only person this happens to. It's always, you start losing your space as you have your tools. So I'm going to kind of open it up and kind of look behind it and see if I need to add any more glue where it didn't catch. And definitely make sure I didn't glue my pocket together, which, you know, I'm not saying I ever did that, but it can happen. Isn't this is so cute so far, right? So now you can see when you put the tags in here how it's going to keep this from flipping and flopping. All right. Okay, pen, where are you? You're right underneath. All right, let's see now where we are in our directions. We finished with page 12. Now we can do the inside envelope mat. So let's move on and do that and see how far we can get today. This may be where we stop. I always think I'm going to get more done than what I actually do. So once again, I'm using this and then the acorn paper. So this is what we're going to do, and I'll show you why we're going to do this. So we have it here and here, and I'm kind of bookending it. So I have it here at the top, and then I have it here at the bottom. So it kind of flows. You got this, you got something different, but then you've got the same thing here. So to me, I like that's pleasing to the eye, to me. So that's why I'm going to use this one last time. Is there any Hamilton fans out there? When I said that, that song went through my head that George Washington sings. One last time. Ever since I got Disney Plus when it first comes out, I have wore that channel out. And then my 8-month-old grandbaby, I mean, I don't think we could live without it. She absolutely loves Mickey Mouse Clubhouse and Roadster Racers and whatever the Minnie Mouse one is with the bows and the boutique. Loves it. My brain hurts. She loves that Mickey Mouse theme song so much. Ugh. Okay, so on this yellow gingham paper, I need 6.5 by 6.5. Picture this, 6.5. That's why I say we're getting some big chunks. So just be sure you're measuring twice, so you can only cut once, because you're not going to have enough left over for these big pieces if not. But if you do, if some disaster happens, just piece it together like we've done for some other projects, just like this. See how this is pieced, so we really wouldn't have to have had this long plaid paper down here, but when I designed it, we did. This is what I'm talking about being pieced, though. You can use 2 sheets together if you run low or you make a wrong cut, because believe me, I have done it. And so for the acorn or acorn paper, May fans will get that. This is 6 3/4 by 6 3/4. So far, so good. That away. So we're going to need to round the corners of this once again on the 1/2 side. Just on one side there. I did it on the 1/4 inch. I knew that didn't look right. There and there. All right, I'm going to. Come on. If I ever built a house, my dream home, I would have the world's biggest craft desk. And it would have so much organization, and it would be L-shaped, and it would have all kinds of storage right at my fingertips and right behind me where I didn't have to get up as much, and I didn't knock things over. And I know there's people out there that's like, yep, I know what you're talking about. I feel you. All right, back on the fall side. Opening back up to here. I'm going to open my envelope. It's really sticking. There we go. So now you can see how easily this acorn paper is going to fit here. And this yellow, what is this called? Gingham? I guess it's gingham. It's not really squares. It's kind of diagonal gingham. But I wasn't sure what to call it. I mean, I wish somebody was here I could conversate with, because gingham kind of is, it's small, like tic-tac-toe, like if it was this, if this was the orientation, right? So this is kind of a diagonal, but I don't think, it's not a plaid. I don't know if it's just a pattern, but that's what I'm calling it, a gingham, even though it's kind of a diagonal gingham. And then this here. And I don't use a lot of this brownish paper with the branch on it, but I don't count it out. It's kind of pretty. Brown is not my favorite at all, but that's kind of a pretty pattern they came up with. So I'm just trying to make sure I'm about 1/8 of an inch away or more, depending on how I cut my paper and how I put it together, from any score line. So I'm just really taking, I know it's kind of hard to see, even though I'm chatting to you, I was making sure I was 1/8 of an inch away from the score lines. So isn't this cute so far when you open it up? There. The only thing I would caution too is I'm right-handed. I'm always seem to be pulling up in that one spot. So just make sure as we're going through this, you don't keep pulling the same spot so that that paper gets weak, because mine started doing that. And so let's try to finish up the inside of the envelope today, and then we'll move on tomorrow. So I need a 4x6 card and some more of this acorn paper. So here's my 4x6 cards. And have you seen this plaid on the back? It's beautiful. Beautiful. So this is also a just optional. If you don't want to put this 4x6 card here and have more room for photos, I would absolutely do that right here at the bottom. This is a great place for a photo opportunity here, but I want to show you how to use your paper. So just keep that in mind as we're going through. So I really liked this saying, and I really liked the coloring of it. So I'm just going to, I know I'm going to use this one and this one for sure in upcoming pages. I'm just going to cut it down the center and cut this one out. So I have this. Put this with my scraps. And I'm going to get out my acorn paper. And I should have, since I used it last year, I should have a piece that's the right size. Yeah, just making sure. So this leftover piece that we cut out, that is it 6 3/4? Yeah, the 6 3/4 piece. You're gonna go grab that, and we're just gonna cut off enough to make one row of acorns. So whichever way you need to do that. I'm gonna cut this little bitty pieces off here. And I should have cut a little bit tiny more. I just really want a row of acorns. So I'll kind of give you a measurement as we go. I think it's about 1 inch. It's a little bit larger than 1 inch, but just look at your paper and let it tell you where to cut so that you get a row like that of acorns. Okay. So now you have this. And of course this is longer. You have this one. Then let's see, we want those 3x4 cards, the one with the fox on it. We cut that apart earlier, so I'm going to need that. If you want to go ahead and mark where your photo is going, you're going to need one of these 4x6 index cards. Put that over here. And then, let's see, I used some more of that gingham. Let me see what scraps I've got. I have this and this. I also have that. Which one is smaller? This one is smaller, so I'm going to use it. And then I also want some of that brown. Did that come off the acorn? It did. And then you know what? We cut off a little piece of that acorn. Hold on. Hold, please. What did I do with it? I throw it away? Okay, it doesn't matter. So also on the back of this, if I can find my piece, here it is. Here's what I have left after trimming that off. There's that brown paper, so I need some of that. So I need 1/4 inch or so of this one. I wish I could have found where I cut that other piece off, but it's somewhere buried in the garbage. So I need that. And all this is at the bottom of 13. And this yellow gingham, I needed 3 1/4. And it's not straight. 3 1/4 by, is it 4 1/4? Yeah. I think that's everything here. So I'm gonna go back and open this up. And then now we're over on the top of 14. Get my distress ink and start putting this together. So you can also leave me some feedback too if you like seeing every single step, even how I cut and everything, or if you would rather, you know, have shorter videos where everything I have is kind of cut out and I just kind of show you how to put it together. Because I could go either way. When I'm watching other people, I kind of like to see their process. I like to hear their stories. And then sometimes I have to fast forward to kind of get the information that I want. So as we're going through this, we have this here and this down here. And then we're going to put some stickers there. And for the fox, I'll go ahead and ink him up, and then I put him on the gingham paper like this. See how it kind of keeps repeating the patterns on this one side so that it all flows. And then on the other side, when we start decorating, see, we'll pick different papers. And it won't all look like we've used, all the same things again. And on this brown paper, I kind of wanted a grounding place for this to sit. So that's all that's going to be happening here. It's just going to go across the edge. Kind of learned that from Miss Brenda. Do y'all know Brenda from May May's channel? She's a fine artist, and she does painting classes, and she always talks about, adding something to ground, and I really do think that makes a difference. And here's a 4x6 photo, and I'm going to get my stamp pad out here and stamp that down. This, I use VersaFine Black Onyx ink, and this is just an index card. Couldn't think of the word. And the stamp set that I like to use is from May May Made It. It's her Action stamp set, and I just keep that place photo here on a block just about all the time because I use it so often in mini albums. So I'm just matting that fox to the center of that gingham paper. Then I'll kind of lay this out how I like it. It's going to be about 3/4 of an inch from the bottom. I'll put that brown strip, and then you'll see with this place photo here will go, and then the fox, yeah. So you don't have to put this index card in here if you already have your photos, but if you're giving it as a gift, it's a nice thing to have so that that person can visualize it. Now, if you want them to glue their photo over the white, go ahead like I'm going to do and use art glitter glue. If not, you want to pick up some kind of tape runner or something that's not permanent. This one is, but you can get some that are repositionable. But for the sake of showing you how this works, I'm actually just going to put a tiny bit of glue on mine so that if I want to, I can come back and take that out later. I'm really hoping to have some fall pictures of the pumpkin patch and stuff this year of the 8-month-old. We'll see how that goes, I guess. So this is going to overlap this right around where this brown strip is, like this, like I said, where it's grounded. I'm only going to put glue on the right-hand side so that I can slip that photo in if I decide to do it that way. I just want to give myself the opportunity where I can just put my photo in right here on top of that white, or I can take the white out, like so. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of line this up. The way where I'm going to put this acorn strip at the bottom is right past where it curves. So right where it starts being straight lined is where I'm going to put this, and this is going to go all the way across the black part. From the black all the way from end to end. It's going to come off the pattern paper. And then you can butt this up against it, or you can overlap it a bit. In this instance, I just used the card and butted it up against the acorn paper. Sometimes I have very strong beliefs or opinions on how I like it to look. This time I think it looks, pretty good either way. So I'm going to glue that into place. And to kind of finalize this look, I'm going to add some stickers. So that's kind of fun. And then we'll end for the day. But I think we got a whole lot done here. So let's see. I did, be easier to look here. So we'll put this big autumn one here. We put the big branch here, and then I added this blue leaf and the owl, and then this fall. And then here I put 3 stickers. It's got a brown leaf, a pumpkin, and a red heart there. So let's kind of do that together. I think I'm going to close this up and go ahead and do this one. So this big autumn piece works out well. Just going to have to go slow so that I don't rip it. It's a little bit intricate. I think I got, all the pieces out. I'm going to put a little bit of black around the edges, like I say, because I can't help myself. And there's some pretty good pictures of this in your cutting guide, so you can kind of look at where I'm putting it. On this fall side, I almost put glue on it. I don't think I need to. This is kind of, so let me hold my breath again. Simple, just putting the sticker here, but it looks good. On the Christmas one, we go a little more crazy and put all kinds of layers on it. And kind of the reason I did that is because I didn't have any big stickers like this for that side to take up all that space, but I really like how it turned out. Okay, is that gonna look good? Good, good, good. And we can always go back and see what we have left over. And then come back. And we can add more if we would like to. All right, sorry about that. And all right, so let's continue with stickers. Let's take a look at this long branch here. Just have to kind of like, don't rush it, because it will kind of come apart. And don't ask me how I know, because I think I ripped off a leaf the first time getting to going a little crazy. So this is a good place to personalize too, because you see how there's like big piece right here. You could put a name if you wanted to, like on your Cricut or stickers. So there's a big piece here that you could personalize by putting a different title if you wanted to. But I wanted to keep building, just building up with my stickers, because I think that's fun, and I think that's kind of what it's for. So if I take this bird or this owl or this, I don't know, it could be a woodpecker. I don't know, it's cute though. Put this here. And then I'm going to look again for another leaf. So here's this smaller blue leaf. That took me forever. I'm going to put this kind of up here at the top, just making sure it doesn't interfere with my Velcro. That kind of gives something else up there. And then lastly, I want to put this fall here. So it could go at the top here or down here to fill in, whichever you like more. And I think I'll keep it in the same spot that I had in my example. I like that. So we layered some stickers there. Okay, and then to finish off, let's layer some stickers here. So this big brown leaf, like this. Okay. And I'm just going to put it right diagonal in the corner at an angle just like so. And then the next one, I'm going to get this pumpkin here. And I hope that this is helping someone out there with these tips and going through the stickers, because I know I used to just kind of be like, I like stickers, they're adorable, but how do I use them up, and how do I use them in a mini album like this? I kind of used to be very, I'm going to use this one here that was right here by the deer. Maybe not afraid of them, but I just didn't have a lot of ideas for them until I saw someone start layering them. And then I saw someone else who went a step further. They layered them, and then they would put them onto black cardstock and cut them out. And that always made a beautiful presentation. So I hope you guys are enjoying this process. And we've got through a lot today. I'll meet you back here this time tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern. If you decide Eastern, where did that come from? I think that's where my boss is, Central Time. So we'll pick up from there. And if you decide to make one of these, please go on over to our Facebook group, Lisa Wise Designs, and put an example and some photos there for us all to learn from each other. Okay, see you again tomorrow, guys. Thanks. Hey, if you like this video series, I keep forgetting to ask, please hit like on the videos and subscribe if you haven't already. See you tomorrow. Bye.